My mom cried, "Please help. The power bill is past due." I sent $3,200 that night. A week later, my cousin showed me my sister's Instagram, poolside, cocktails captioned, "Only real family. Invited." It is smiled. That evening, I quietly did what they feared most. I still remember the exact text. It was 8:13 p.m. on a Monday. "Please help. The power bill is past due. We're sitting in the dark. I hate to ask this, Liv, but can you send anything? I'm Patricia. I'm 34, originally from outside Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been living in San Diego for almost 9 years now. I work in tech, or more specifically, corporate strategy for a mid-sized AI company that just recently started printing money. I'd worked my ass off for years in a job that used to keep me up at night, but last month I finally landed the promotion that changed everything. Director, a 6F figure, a salary, stock, options, and for the first time in my life, financial stability. I made the mistake of telling my family too early. They congratulated me in the family group chat. Fire emojis, heart emojis, a gift of someone popping champagne. My mom said she always knew I'd make it. My sister Vanessa called me a boss. I smiled at their messages, screenshotted the thread, even sent it to a friend of mine. Felt good, like finally, after years of being the quiet, overlooked middle child, someone was proud of me. That feeling lasted exactly 10 days. The first request came from Vanessa. She needed $220 for tires, said she'd been driving on wires. Then mom asked if I could help with her kuway at the dentist. Then it was groceries, then gas. The thing is, I didn't mind helping, not at first. I told myself this is what success was for, to help the people who raised you. But that night, the power bill text, something about it hit differently. The way it was worded, the urgency, the guilt. I called her. She picked up immediately, like she'd been waiting. She told me the lights had already been shut off once, that they were using candles that Vanessa had sold a bracelet for groceries, and her phone was next. My mom said she hadn't asked my brother Zach because he was out of work again. He sounded tired, not manipulative, just tired. Take care of it. I wired $3,200 that night, not just for the bill. I told her to use it for whatever they needed. Groceries, gas, rent, whatever. I slept easy that night. I thought I'd done the right thing. The next morning, she called crying, said I'd saved them. Said she was ashamed they'd let it get that bad. But exactly 1 week later, everything flipped. I was having lunch with my cousin James in La Jolla. He works in real estate, not really close to the rest of the family, but we've always stayed in touch. We were talking about his new listing when he pulled out his phone. "You see Vanessa's latest Instagram story?" I hadn't. He handed me his phone. I stared at it for a long time. It was her poolside, somewhere in Palm Springs. I recognized the background, a boutique hotel I'd stayed at once during a conference. 2 cocktails on the table, a giant sun hat, perfect nails. The caption said, "Only real family invited." No, Mom. No, Zach. No. Desperate cries for help. Just heard 2 of her friends and my cousin Leo, who lived nearby. James raised his eyebrows, but didn't say anything. I handed the phone back, still silent. Then I smiled. Not a happy smile, that kind of smile you give when the puzzle pieces click into place and the picture staring back at you is nothing like what you thought you were building. That night, I didn't call her. I didn't message anyone. I logged into my laptop and opened a spreadsheet I hadn't touched in months. Then I opened another tab and pulled up the deed to the house back in North Carolina. I knew exactly what they feared most, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid to use it. I didn't sleep that night, not out of rage. I wasn't angry, at least not in the way they would have expected. I was focused to come detached, almost While the house was quiet around me and the city slept, I went digging. Old files, contracts, emails from years ago, right after my dad passed. That was when everything in our family shifted. He was the buffer between us, the one who kept everyone in check. After the funeral, my mom was barely holding herself together. Vanessa and Zach disappeared for a while, and someone had to handle the house paperwork, the trust, the bank accounts, the lawyer calls. That someone was me. I was 29, fresh into my new job in San Diego, flying back and forth for court, signatures, meetings, and legal garbage. I did it quietly. They all let me, and in the end, I was named trustee of the family trust. I didn't ask for it. I just didn't say no. That decision made in exhaustion gave me a kind of control none of them even remembered existed. So, while Vanessa was lounging poolside, with lemon slices floating in a drink paid for by me, I pulled up the trust documents. I reread the part 1. Remembered vaguely just to be sure. If any heir abuses the trust or attempts to manipulate or misrepresent financial needs to extract funds, the trustee may restrict their access or remove them altogether pending review. Who is there? In legal language, that only sounded complicated. Then I did something I should have done before I ever sent $1. I called the power company, pretended I was just double checking on a payment for my mom. They asked for the address, pulled up the account, and casually told me it was all good. Current paid off 2 weeks ago. Weeks. The money I sent never touched the electric bill. The money I sent never touched the electric bill. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even flinch. I just thanked them, hung up and opened another tab. This time I pulled up the activity log on the trust's linked bank account. I saw withdrawals at gas stations nowhere near their town, ATM polls in Palm Springs, a hotel charge under Vanessa's name. That's when I knew it wasn't just a one-time lie. It was planned, coordinated. That night I froze the trust. No more automatic payments. I scheduled an alert to be me every time a transaction was attempted. Then I filed a temporary hold on distributions due to suspected fraud. The firm managing the paperwork didn't even blink. They said it happens more than I'd think. By noon the next day, the fallout started. Zach called me, said mom's card was declined at the pharmacy and she was freaking out. I asked if the power was still on. He said, yeah, why? I said, no reason. That afternoon, Vanessa finally texted. No mention of the lie, no apology. Just a quick hand. You send a few hundred until Friday. Mom's card's not working and she's blaming me. I wrote back one word. No. He tried to call. I let it ring. Then again, then a third time. I didn't pick up. I let them sit with the silence, but I wasn't finished. Because in the middle of all this, I got a piece of information none of them thought I'd ever see. A notification from the county clerk's office. A lien had been filed on the family home, the one still technically under the trust. I dug deeper, and what I found made me sit back in my chair. It wasn't in my mom's name. It was in Vanessa's from a payday loan place near downtown Raleigh. They hadn't just lied. They'd used the house as collateral without asking me, without telling anyone, and I had proof. I stared at the scan for almost a full minute, blinking like maybe I was reading it wrong, but there it was, black and white, clear as daylight. $15,000 borrowed against the house, filed under Vanessa's name. The house wasn't in her name, not even partially. She wasn't on the trust, wasn't listed as an owner, had zero legal standing to use it for anything, let alone collateral for a payday loan, but she'd done it anyway. And the loan company either didn't care or didn't bother checking. It had been filed 2 months earlier, way before the text about the power bill, way before the fake crying phone call from mom. So, while I was wiring money across the country, thinking I was saving them from getting their electricity cut off, Vanessa was sitting on thousands of dollars that technically didn't exist. Except now it did as a legal debt tied to a house I was responsible for. I called my lawyer that same day. Didn't even wait. Just sent everything over. With a note. Call me now. When he got on the line, his voice was flat. No. Dramatic gasp, no outrage, just confirmation that I had every right to take action. She had no claim, no right. What she did could be considered fraud. And if the loan defaulted, the house could end up on the chopping block. A house my mom still lived in. I sat there in my kitchen looking out at the calm, perfect weather of San Diego and felt something dark crawl through my chest. Not hate, not even anger, just disappointment. So sharp it felt like something broke. They hadn't just lied to me. They'd gambled with something that wasn't even theirs. So I filed a formal lock on the trust, froze all future distributions, sent a cease and desist letter to the loan company along with documentation showing the fraudulent use of the property. Then I had a notice sent to Vanessa, certified, mail required signature. I didn't call her. I didn't warn anyone. I just let it hit. The first call came from Zach. I ignored it. Then two from Mom. I waited. When Vanessa finally called, it rang for so long it stopped on its own. He texted right after. What the hell is going on? I'm getting legal letters now from you. You're blowing this way out of proportion. You don't understand how hard it's been. Mom is in tears. He thinks you hate her. Not a single apology. Not one explanation. Then she sent another one. Just 6 words. Are you really doing this, Olivia? That one made me pause because no one ever used my full name unless they were trying to guilt me. I didn't answer, but the next morning I answered when Mom called. I figured I owed her that much. Her voice was small but not angry. She asked me why I'd done what I did. I told her everything, that the power bill lie wasn't just a white lie, it was a scam, that the trust was being abused, that her daughter had forged her way into a $15,000 loan and put their home at risk, all while pretending to need money for food and utilities. She didn't argue, didn't interrupt, just sat with it. Then she asked quietly, can it be fixed? I told her it could, but not by me, not this time. Later that night, Zach texted, me too. Vanessa's losing it. She says, you've turned on the family. Mom's caught in the middle. I'm staying out of it. But he didn't stay out of it. The next day, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. No words, just a photo beneath sitting in a car. Red-faced, ice puffy, holding up a cashier's check. $15,000. Then a message followed. I paid it off. I hope you're happy now. I didn't respond. I just saved the photo, backed up the message, and let it sit. Because in that moment, something shifted. For the first time in my life, they were scared of losing me, not because I was Patricia, the sister, or the daughter, but because they'd finally realized what they'd done. And maybe, just maybe, they were starting to regret it. 3 days passed after Vanessa sent me that picture of the check. Not a word since. No apology, no explanation, nothing from her, nothing from Mom. And Zach had disappeared into whatever version of staying out of it meant in his world. The quiet made me uneasy. It always did. In my family, silence was never peaceful. It was the calm between backstabs. I checked the trust account every morning and night. Passwords were changed, alert set, no activity, so I couldn't relax. I kept thinking there's no way she's done. Then Thursday morning, something strange happened. I was brushing my teeth when my phone buzzed with a Venmo notification for $100 from Leo, my cousin. No message, just a lightning bolt emoji. I hadn't seen or spoken to Leo since the Palm Springs fiasco, the trip I'd only learned about because Vanessa broadcasted it all over Instagram. I texted him, did you mean to send me that? He replied instantly, yeah, that's your cut from Palm Springs. V charged us $400 each for the Airbnb. Said she booked it early and fronted the cash. We all paid her back. Figured that was your money anyway. I froze. He charged them. She said she paid for it herself, pretty much. Said she handled it and just needed everyone to sell her. That's her money, right? I didn't respond. I just stared at the screen. So, not only had she lied about the power bill and used my money for a vacation, she turned around and profited off it, collected rent from family as if she was running a damn resort. I opened my laptop, found the Airbnb listing. It wasn't even cheap. $2,100. 4 or 5 nights booked under her name, with a prepaid visa that lined up with the trust withdrawal. There were even messages back and forth with the host. One of them saying, family retreat. Just us girls plus cousin. Girls and cousin, not mom, not Zach, not me. It was pure theater. An hour later, I got a text from mom. We need to talk. Please. Something's happened. I hesitated, then called. She answered quickly and sounded tired. Not angry, just defeated. She said she'd been contacted by someone from the county clerk's office. They'd flagged the lien. The fraud report I filed had triggered a property audit. He had to leave the house temporarily, they said, but until the review was complete and until it was clear who owed what, she legally couldn't stay on trust property. She was moving in with a woman from church who had a spare room. That broke me in a different way. Mom had a lot of faults. She played blind to things she didn't want to confront, but she hadn't stolen anything. She hadn't used a cent, and now she was the one being pushed out. She said, I thought Vanessa was just trying to enjoy herself. I didn't know how deep it went, but I do know. She sounded like someone who'd finally taken the blindfold off. That night I got a letter in the mail, handwritten. No return address, but I knew the writing. Then I stood in my hallway for a minute, debating whether to open it. Part of me didn't want to, but I did. It wasn't an apology. It was venom. She said I'd humiliated her, made her look like a thief in front of the family, said I'd always needed to feel in control, and that I twisted a simple mistake into a full-blown war. Then came the part that stuck. You changed after Dad died. You became cold. This is who you are now. I hope the money keeps you warm. He said with that for a while, not because it hurt, but because it was exactly the kind of thing someone says when they have nothing left. But I wasn't even angry anymore. I was tired. I folded the letter, stuck it in a drawer, and got ready for bed. 3 days later, something happened that none of us saw coming. Zach called 3 times in a row. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. He was crying, not panicking, not faking it. Guttle. Something had happened to Mom. The voicemail was only 19 seconds long, but it knocked the breath out of me. Zach's voice was ragged. He could barely speak. Something happened to Mom. She collapsed. She's in the ICU. They don't know what's wrong yet. She was at the churchwoman's house. Please call me. I just sat there, phone still in my hand, waiting for the world to study. I couldn't. I called the hospital. They confirmed she'd been admitted. Cardiac arrest. No history of heart issues. No warning signs, just collapsed in the kitchen face down. The woman she was staying with found her and called 911. By the time I got a hold of Zach again, he was already there pacing outside the ICU. He sounded like a different person. Scared, stripped down. She was doing better. He kept saying she was just getting her strength back. And then this. I asked about Vanessa. He said she was on her way. I drove through the night. 6 hours, no stops. I don't remember most of it. Just the constant pounding in my chest and the feeling like time was melting. When I got to the hospital, it was nearly 3:00 a.m. I found Zach in the waiting area with a blanket over his shoulders, staring at the floor. He stood when he saw me, then just hugged me. No words. We hadn't hugged in years. Mom was stable, unconscious, but stable. They had her on oxygen and said it might have been stress-related or exhaustion, but they would know more. Until the tests came back. Vanessa showed up the next morning, sunglasses. Missibun hodie. She looked straight at me and didn't say a word, just walked into the ICU room like nothing had happened. I stayed back with Zach. He pulled out his phone and showed me something, a text from Mom from the day before. I'm sorry, I didn't say this earlier. You and Olivia were right. I let it all go too far. I just wanted everyone to be okay. I didn't know how to fix it. I hope you both forgive me. Zach looked at me. She knew. We sat there in silence. Over the next few days, we barely left the hospital. We rotated sleeping in the car, on benches, in the family room. Vanessa avoided me entirely. At one point, I heard her ask a nurse about next of kin and almost lost it. I reminded the staff that I was listed on all Mom's legal documents. I was the trustee, the power of attorney. She backed off after that. Then came the bill. Despite insurance, the ICU stay, tests, and emergency transport added up. Fast. The estimate was just under $24,000. And it had to be paid within 15 days or risk collections. Zach looked at me. Vanessa stood in the hallway with her arms crossed. Nobody said it out loud, but we all knew what was coming. They wanted me to fix it. Zach tried to say something, but I cut him off. I'll cover it, I said, but this is it. After this, we're done playing games. I had the money. It would hurt, but I had it. I wired the payment 2 days later. No thank you, no flowers, not even a nod from Vanessa. But Mom woke up, and when she did, the first thing she asked for was me. I stood next to her bed while she blinked up at the ceiling. Her voice, just a whisper. Did you save us again? I didn't answer. I just reached out, gently took her hand, and held it. For a long moment, neither of us said anything. Then she whispered something else. I don't want to go back to that house. I nodded because I already knew what she meant, and I had a plan. When Mom whispered that she didn't want to go back to the house, she didn't have to explain. I already knew. She wasn't afraid of the physical place. She was afraid of what had happened inside it, afraid of what it had come to represent. That house was soaked in years of guilt, manipulation, and silent resentment. He used to be home. Now it was just a structure for walls that had seen too many fake tears and too many real betrayals. So I didn't take her back. I'd already signed the lease on a condo across town, 2 bedrooms, ground floor, fully furnished with sunlight that poured in through the living room, windows every morning. It wasn't big, but it was safe, quiet, neutral. She didn't say much when she walked in, just sat on the edge of the sofa, ran her hand across the fabric, and nodded to herself. This feels calm, she said. I can finally sleep. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. The next day, I made the call to the lawyer and told him I was ready to dissolve the trust, ready to sell the house. No more waiting, no more half measures. The debts would be paid, and whatever was left would be split. But this time it would be on my terms. Zach took it well. Maybe because deep down he knew it was inevitable, or maybe he just had enough of the drama. He told me he'd waive his cut if I needed to recover more from Vanessa's damage. I told him not to. I wanted him to have it. Vanessa exploded. She started with a text. You're out of control. You don't speak for everyone. You're selling the only thing we have left. Then she called. I didn't answer. Then came the emails, long-winded rants, where she quoted our dad, tried to guilt trip me using old family photos, and accused me of turning Mom against her. I ignored everyone until she did the thing I knew was coming. He got a lawyer, claimed the trust was manipulated, that I'd used my position to punish her, and that she deserved a full share, regardless of what she'd borrowed, lied about, or used without permission. Her Lawyer reached out to mine. It lasted 3 days. After seeing the documents, the forged signature on the lien, the screenshots of her Venmo requests, the breakdown of the trust withdrawals, matching the Airbnb dates, her lawyer backed off. She had no case. The house went on the market and sold in 19 days. Above asking, the payout after expenses and deductions was clean. Zach got his share. I got mine. Vanessa got what was left of hers minus every dollar she owed, plus legal fees. She didn't say thank you. She didn't say anything, but she cashed the check. That told me everything I needed to know. In the weeks that followed, I didn't hear from her. Not even when Mom started getting stronger. Not when Mom moved from the condo into a senior community nearby. One that had yoga, art classes, and a garden club she now claims she runs. Even though I'm pretty sure she just brings snacks. Zach and I keep in touch. More now. Not all the time, but the conversations are real. And for once, not about money. He's been working. Again, says he's thinking about moving. I told him if he leaves the state, he better not tell Mom over text. Last week, I finally cleaned out the last of the old boxes I brought back from North Carolina. I found an old envelope with my name on it in Dad's handwriting. Inside was a folded note, no more than a few lines. Don't wait for people to do the right thing. Just do yours. That'll be enough. I sat with that for a long time because that's what all this came down to. I kept waiting for my family to act right, to treat me fairly, to be honest. And when they didn't, I acted. Anyway, not out of revenge, but out of necessity. They'll never see it that way, especially Vanessa. But that's fine. Because now Mom is safe. The house is gone. The debt is cleared and I'm free. I still love them, but I don't trust blindly anymore. Not because I'm broken. Because now I finally understand where the line is, and I'm never letting anyone drag me past it again. The final update. It's been close to a year now. A quiet one mostly. No dramatic calls, no surprise emergencies, no passive aggressive texts asking if I have time to talk. And in that silence, something strange happened. I got my life back. Vanessa never reached out again. After the house was sold and the trust was closed, she disappeared completely. Zach told me in passing that she moved to Arizona with some guy she met on Facebook Marketplace of all places. She was buying a used treadmill and ended up meeting him in person. Apparently, she packed up overnight and left without saying goodbye to Mom. There were no long speeches, no fights. At the end, just absence. Zach stuck around. Surprisingly, he's been working a stable job at a heating and air company. Even got promoted recently. He texts me when he's confused about taxes or when he sees something online that reminds him of our childhood. The time Vanessa broke Mom's favorite lamp and blamed it on the dog, or when Dad brought home fireworks and lit them off in the van. We don't talk about the trust anymore. Not because it's uncomfortable. It's just over. Dealt with Momo. She changed not just her environment, but her energy. She's lighter. The senior community gave her a second life. She started doing watercolor classes, morning yoga, even leads a book club. Now, I visited her last week and saw a painting she made of the old house. Soft blues and grays, no people in the windows. She said it helped her let it go. She never asked for a copy of the sale papers, never asked where the money went. She didn't want the details. She just wanted peace. One day over tea, she said something I haven't stopped thinking about. I spent too long thinking love meant always saying yes. It doesn't. Sometimes it means stepping back before you start drowning with. She wasn't just talking about Vanessa and me. I'm good. Shri good. Work stable. Better than ever. The promotion I got a year ago, the one that set all this in motion, doesn't define me anymore. It just gave me the option to build a life I don't have to escape from. I still live in the same San Diego apartment, but it looks different now. There's a new couch, a record player, actual plants that haven't died. I've been seeing someone fully, no labels. Yet, and I'm not in a rush. After what I went through with my family, I've learned not to ignore red flags or green ones. I pay attention now. There's still that part of me that wants to fix things. Never really goes away, but I've learned to pause, to ask the harder questions. Is this my responsibility? Or is it just familiar pain? I thought a lot about that house, what it held, what it took from me, what I gave to keep it afloat. In the end, it wasn't about bricks or inheritance or history. It was about truth. And once that truth came out about the money, the lies, the people we really were behind the family photos, there was no going back. People will always show you who they are. Believe them. And when you're the one who finally sees clearly, don't apologize for it. That's what I've taken from all this. You can love people without letting them wreck you. You can help without being used. And you can walk away not out of hate, but out of self-respect. That's how it really ended. Not with some explosion, not with revenge, just with me quietly choosing peace over chaos. And this time, for once, they didn't get to choose what I gave.